Hey, welcome back to Rock Stardust. I hope you've had a great week. Today, we're looking at the top 20 albums of 1997. How awesome. That was a big year in music. It's a year that I saw a lot of shows and I played a lot of gigs, um, supporting a lot of big bands as well back then. So it's a big period of my life, and that was the soundtrack for a really exciting time. So we'll go through these, and I'm going to start off. It was a big year. It's pretty hard to get this list together, but at number 20, Whiskey Almanac by Whiskey Town. This was the first introduction to Ryan Adams, and these guys were pretty cool, doing that country rock thing and drinking a bit of whiskey. But it's a cool album. And if you're a Ryan Adams fan, dig this one out. Go back to this one. It shows you where it all started. Number 19, we've got the Seahorses, which was, John Squire from the Stone Roses release, where he put together a pretty cool album and one that gets overlooked these days, but some tremendous guitar playing, and they had a really cool sort of retro cool sound. And at number 18, we've got Bridges to Babylon. So it was a solid Rolling Stones release that year. They were a little more experimental. Some people really love that album. Some people aren't so fussed on it. I think it's pretty cool. At number 17, we've got Blink 182 with Dude Ranch. Now, this album was pivotal in terms of that scatty punk scene at the time. And damn, it was everywhere. So, well worth including. Number 16, we've got Corner Shop with When I Was Born the Seventh Time. I really dug this album. I still do. And, Room Full of Asher and 45. What a classic single. At number 15, we've got Barina Vista Social Club. Very cool. World music at the time was sort of really taking off. And these guys with that Cuban sound, I found it really refreshing, and it's a great album. At number 14, we've got U2 with Pop. Very interesting. They were trying to be hip. That's the way I see it. Trying to kind of compete with what was out there at the time, and looking to experiment with more of a trip hop sound. Semi-successful in some regards, in some regards not, but Discotheque's an example of that. But they definitely were trying to fit into that sound at the time. At number 13, we've got the enigmatic Econ and the Bunnymen back. Ian McCulloch back in the band. This is 10 years since their last, official release. And look, it's a big comeback. At the time, it was a lot of press, a lot of excitement around it. And Michael Lee takes over the drums from Pete DeFreitas, who passed away. So well worth another listen. At number 12, we've got Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, the Boatman song. This is stripped back bare, very much piano, still got that real gothic edge, but one that you could play, in a different kind of vibe, environment. It was very critically acclaimed, and it is a really good album. And at number 11, we've got Primal Scream with Vanishing Point. This is very experimental, very cool mix of sounds and different drum beats, and a little bit of their classic rock Scottish band that they are, but they've got that sort of bit of electronica in there, and you've got to hand it to them. They were so creative, and this album was really well received. Hey guys, before I go on any further, we get to the final 10. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel. That means a lot. It just takes about 1.5 seconds, or actually you can do it quicker than that. So to those that have, thank you so much. It means a lot growing this community. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'm sure you'll have your own list of your favorites, and there's a few that I've probably missed here. I know I have, but let's just see where we go with that. And like it if you're enjoying this. Cheers. Number 10, we've got Super Groove with In It for the Money. This album was played a lot on the radio. I think Richard III, I really liked that track. They were a very uplifting band and a big part of that Britpop scene, but they had a lot going for them. It's good stuff. Number 9, we've got the Dandy Warhols. What a cool band. This was a real launching pad for them. Something very groovy about the Dandy Warhols, and they were a really big part of that 90s sort of, late 90s sound, and obviously they would go on to bigger and greater things. But this album was a really good stepping stone for them. That was their second release. Cool album. 8, we've got Portishead. This is trippy, hypnotic, atmospheric. Had to add them to this list, and so unique. One of those artists that were very much groundbreaking. And this is a very, very cool album. This was their second album, and they sort of made a big statement here. At number 7, we've got Prodigy, that big crab thing, Fat of the Land. This was everywhere. Smashed my bitch up, like the revolution at that time. There was a rave culture, and for the scene, this was huge. So big, big shift in the music. Number 6, we've got the Chemical Brothers, Dig Your Own Hole. Talk about rave culture and, revolutionary music and beats and just genius, these guys. You're looking at some block rock and beats right there, and they are obviously iconic for a reason. 5, I've got Faith No More, album of the year. I went to that concert as well. I was super impressed, especially with the delivery from Mike Patton. But the band are, I believe, in great form here. Obviously, they had some changes going on with the changing guitar player and that sort of thing. But there was a little bit of tension there. But the overall feel of this album is very creative. Last Cup of Sorrow, Ashes to Ashes. Helpless is my dark track on that one that not many people talk about. But no, that was a very important release as well in terms of the overall mix of the music. At number 4, we've got the mighty Paul Weller, Heavy Soul, another outstanding album here that run in the 90s, which was just top notch. Peacock Sue, Up in Susie's Room, Friday Street come to mind as some real Paul Weller gems, with that band really on fire, and that soulful rock and roll. Brilliant. Number 3, we've got Blur, the self-titled album Blur. Beetle Bum, great song. Song 2 obviously was the big hit. And I really dig Death of a Party, MORs on it and that sort of stuff. Big sound. Concert was great, and a big part of that with that Britpop sound. And this was them evolving their sound from what they'd done previously to slightly more, how can I put it, American indie influence, and that sort of stuff. And you could hear that coming through. At number 2, we've got Urban Hymns by The Verve. Outstanding album. Very, very powerful statement. Big part of that 1997 year. Bittersweet Symphony was everywhere. But so were all those other great songs like Lucky Man, The Drugs Don't Work, that kind of stuff. And you see that the genius of Richard Ashcroft and this band really, really were top notch, no question about it. Number 1, I've got OK Computer by Radiohead. Had to be there. It was such a incredibly groundbreaking, influential album. Blew everyone away that I was associated with in music scene and that sort of thing. And just remarkable. And seeing them on tour that year as well was phenomenal. Just, what can you say? Paranoid Android, Karma Police, great stuff. I mean, there's so much to it. The whole album flows like a piece of art very much like, Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. You listen to it as an album, Earlung, all these tracks, they just all have their place, and it takes you on a journey. Very, very special. So that's my number one, Radiohead, OK Computer. Hope you enjoyed this list. I've got a few honorable mentions as well. At that time, there was a lot of The Cause being played, and they were quite a stunning band. So Only When I Sleep and all that thing, there was a real Irish thing going on at that time as well. You had from New Zealand a band that you won't probably have heard of called the Mutton Birds, Envy of Angels. That's a really cool album if you dig that out, or look that up on YouTube. That's got some great alternative pop, jangly guitars and things. Other notable releases, the Stereophonics were in the mix, and then from another side of the coin, obviously Creed came into to being, and really with a big launch that year as well. But there was some other cool albums released. I think Bjork as well, who probably should be on my list. I'm just giving you sort of 20 that were impactful to me at that time, being quite young and in a band, and in that feeling that whole vibe. So great year for album releases, 1997, as well the years around it. So we might have a dig into those as well. But thanks again for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Put your list in the comment section, your ideas and thoughts. That'd be most appreciated, and have a great week. Cheers.